My favorite part of this interview was when Dr. Phil said that Akira giving her blessing to Brenay and Tim being together was magnanimous. That word clearly went over Brenay's head, and that is exactly why going on Dr. Phil was such a terrible idea. Let me quickly define magnanimous. It means to be generous from a position of power. By using that word, Dr. Phil subtly reframed Brenay's claim as something implausible. Without outright saying, he was basically speaking to the audience. In trying to communicate, you expect us to believe that Akira, the injured party in this situation, acted from a place of moral generosity under circumstances that were highly unlikely. No, we're not buying that. Brenay flatly responded, yeah, which means she has no idea what magnanimous means. And that, my friends, is chess. Yesterday, another high-profile interview aired where Brenay and Tim took another crack at sharing their version of events. Their truth, or according to Brenay, the truth. Not a truth, the truth. This time, it was on the Dr. Phil show, and I will be honest, I learned about the airing about 10 minutes before it was about to go on air, and I was concerned, not because Dr. Phil is aggressive or mean, but because he is a very specific type of interviewer. Quick disclaimer, I'm not really a die-hard Dr. Phil fan. I feel like sometimes his interviews can be a little narrow in their framing, in my humble opinion. However, his interview style worked perfectly in this case. You see, Dr. Phil has a psychology background, and it's evident in his interviews. He doesn't argue, he doesn't accuse, and he really doesn't need to. He sets what I like to call a sequential trap. First, he establishes the uncontested facts. Then he lets the guest explain, and only after that does he quietly reintroduce the contradiction. He affirms you just enough to keep you talking. That's what I like to call patronizing validation. And it feels supportive, it sounds polite, but it's quietly exposing you. That's why people who are deeply invested in their own narrative don't realize what's happening until it's too late. They think they're being understood when in reality, their story has been under quiet examination the entire time. Here are some examples that stood out to me. Right out of the gate, he immediately reiterates over and over again that they were legally married. He is establishing the fact that they were legally married before even allowing Brenay to explain the reasons for the separation. That is sequencing. He is locking in the framework first. Then he pivots almost immediately into the inappropriate videos. No motives, no emotions, facts first, explanations later. And notice on how he keeps harping on the fact that she was doing these inappropriate things in the marital home. He doesn't accuse, he just keeps returning to that fact over and over again until the contradiction reveals itself. Toward the end, when Brenay is claiming that she had permission from Akira to pursue Tim, he says, I read those text messages. Those don't read like permission at all. Calm, final, no room for debate. And then, of course, my favorite line, wow, that was very magnanimous. One word, no accusations, total reframing. And this is why long-form interviews like this are extremely dangerous when a story depends on selective framing. The longer someone talks, the harder it is to maintain the distortion. And believe me, this is a distorted version of events. That's not me being emotional. I've read the transcript and I've actually viewed some of the evidence that was admitted. So to me, those are the facts. Those are the facts. Her version of events, to me, are not facts. They are a distorted version of what is evidence. Dr. Phil never needed to call it a lie, he just let it breathe. And see, that's the thing with bullshit. If you just let it oxidize, eventually you'll catch a whiff. Now, I want you to give me a follow, and I want you to give me your thoughts about Dr. Phil's interview style. Don't touch on Brenay's responses just yet. We're going to cover that in the next video. I'll catch you in the next one.